Total value of capital importation into Nigeria rises by 54% to $5.8 billion. Nigeria's external reserves increased to $37.77 billion in 9 days, despite volatility in foreign exchange market. And as the IMF advises banks to suspend dividend payment in addressing COVID-19 economic challenges. It's the Children's Day edition of Business Express on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA, and I am your host, Liakatun Babatunde. Latest report from the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) Tuesday revealed the total value of capital importation into Nigeria stood at $5.85 billion in the first quarter of 2020. The importation represents an increase of 53.97% compared to the last quarter of 2019 and 31.19% decrease compared to the first quarter of 2019. Portfolio investments accounted for 73.61% of the total capital importation, followed by other investments, which accounted for 22.73%, and foreign direct investment, which accounted for 3.66% of total capital importation.
Elephant in the room, it took 74%. And again, the foreign direct investment is the sick baby. It has 3.7%, and then the rest, of course, are other investments. Now, but what is very interesting is when you look at the source of these investments, you find that UK still maintained the lead. 50% of this investment came from UK. Surprisingly, if you looked at previous data, America should have come in at about 17%, but they came in at about 7%. So they're much lower than you would have expected. And so America's investment was overtaken by South Africa, which has about 14%. And then you have other people, your UAE, before America came fourth.
Nigeria's external reserves have been boosted as it went up to $35.77 billion despite the volatility in the foreign exchange market due to decline in crude oil export earnings. Data on Central Bank of Nigeria CBN's website show that the external reserves increased sharply by almost $1 billion in just 9 days from the $34.7 billion that it recorded on May 12, 2020 to about $35.77 billion that it ended with on May 21, 2020. Nigeria's external reserves have been on a steady increase since April 29, 2020, when it stood at $33.42 billion. This represents an increase of about $2.35 billion or 7% in 21 days. Now, there is a saying that tough times don't last, but tough people do. This saying comes to mind when meeting the nutritional needs of people in the most of COVID-19. I'm talking about food. Let's talk about Kado Fish Market in the FCT and how the traders are faring. Amina Nujem visited the market and brings us today's surviving COVID-19 report.
It is indeed unusual times as people and businesses alike embrace what has now been termed the new normal. Businesses especially are now faced with the unprecedented challenges and means of still keeping businesses going. Kado Fish Market in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, is normally stocked with various kinds of fish for consumption as well as rearing. Simply put, Kado Fish Market could have its own slogan as a center for assorted fish. The market in full swing, but without a doubt, a bit of a shadow of itself. From the fingerling fish trader, the fresh catfish seller, the frozen food seller, to this dry fish seller, this is not the best of times, and they have to adapt to the times.
Because since the lockdown, I think we've been losing a lot of fish because our inability to feed them properly, our inability to change water is causing a serious loss.
If you look at the market before, they used to offload 40 to 50 tons per day. Now, where there is lockdown, if you look at the market, only 5 trucks are coming.
We've had normal sales, like customer to customer relationship. But now, we're like almost apart. Customers now call us on phone or we chat to them online. Either they come pick it up themselves or they send those courier drivers to pick it up.
We have to arrange the team, put it in a vehicle that has a container vessel and deliver to them.
Customers have no option than to go online to look for how to buy goods. And I've come to realize that some customers will come in. I'll be wondering how they get my number. They say they got it from through WhatsApp, through Facebook and all these things.
This is the offloading site in the market. Before now, between 40 to 50 trucks loaded with fish from Lagos, Osun, Ekiti, Ibadan, among other places, would be ready for processing. But today, it's a different story.
Processing unit is purely for processing fish, which customers and outsiders can bring fish for processing purpose. It's purely designed to enhance the modern way of processing fish than the local way that we have been doing.
Prior to this time, this fish was being processed in the Kado Fish Market processing area. But thanks to COVID-19, times have changed and this is happening instead.
Business must go on despite the challenges of low turnout of potential buyers, sourcing for stock, limited market days, among others. While all this is happening, the golden rule is always wash your hands.
Now, the federal government on Thursday last week began the sale of its third tranche, a 7-year, 150 billion naira sovereign sukuk. The Debt Management Office, DMO, in a circular obtained from its website, said the 7-year Islamic sukuk, referred to as Ijra, was at a rental rate of 11.2% and will be due in June 2027. The circular said subscribers could purchase 1,000 naira per unit, subject to a minimum subscription of 10,000 naira in multiples of 1,000 naira. Recall that the federal government had in 2017 raised a 100 billion naira 7-year debut sukuk bond for the financing of 25 road projects across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. It raised another 100 billion naira in 2018 for a 7-year period for the same purpose, making it 200 billion naira raised so far from the sukuk bonds. Now, Patience Onia, Director General of the Debt Management Office, is our guest on Business Express today. And our discussion, of course, will center on sukuk bonds as Nigeria and the world battles COVID-19. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you very much.
Okay, ma'am. So we're going to just hit the ground running. How do you intend to raise this amount, 150 billion naira? It's higher than the previous offer. So how do you intend to raise it?
Okay, I think we have a strategy in place. So the first part is that we have financial advisors that we're working with whose duty is to market one-on-one. But we're also using the media significantly. So we're on print media, we're in electronic media, we're in online media specifically, but we're also in the various locations because we're trying to reach the retail investor as well. The bond market should not be only for big investors. So in various radio stations across Nigeria, we're actually advertising in vernacular so that people will know. Okay, so there's a lot of sensitization. But in addition to that, we have several banks that are distribution agents. So whether you're looking at First Bank, UBA, Taj Bank, Jais Bank, Access, several. And then all the stockbrokers as well are distribution agents. So you don't need to go too far. Around the corner from you, there's a distribution agent that can assist you to get the sukuk. But the forms are available on our website and the websites of those parties as well.
So you mentioned also advertising in vernacular, but how aware are people of this product? Are you getting any feedbacks?
Yes, I think it helps that, like you noted in your opening remarks, we had issued sukuk twice, first time in 2017, another one in 2018. For those ones, particularly the first one, we had to do physical marketing, went to like 5 towns in Nigeria to have roadshows, talk to investors. For the second one, I think we did Lagos and Abuja, so we have done the one-on-ones on the road. But it's interesting also to say that people are already aware. So from last year, they were asking, aren't you issuing a sukuk? Okay, so, and then they can see the roads. There are signages on the roads. So all of those have helped to help the sukuk. So we think that this time around we can raise 150 billion.
Okay, so this time around, can you tell us for now where are these funds going to?
Okay, so what we do technically is that there are capital projects in the budget. So these are all for roads and bridges, where there are bridges, as well on those roads. So there are projects in the budget, because this sukuk anyway is issued from the domestic borrowing. It's not like we go and do an extra borrowing. We take it from the domestic borrowing and finance projects in the budget. So the way it works, because roads are under the control of the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, they give us those roads that are in the budget. So we tie the funds together. That's where the projects come from. And how do we disburse the money when they come in? In this instance, so those funds are ring-fenced actually. They're in a dedicated account at the central bank, in a sukuk account, and they can't be used for any other purpose. All of those are in the prospectus. That is the requirement for issuing a sukuk. So the funds are not available for the government to spend on any other thing. It's in a dedicated account. Then each of those projects as well, sub-accounts, are open for them. So once the funds come in, they go into that account. Then as the contractors work, so we're paying for performance. Okay, so as the contractors work, they know what work is to be done. They know how much in the sukuk has been allocated to their project, because it's public, the information is public. So when they work and the Ministry of Works and Housing certifies the work they've done, that this work you've done is worth, let's say, 1 billion naira, we also have a trustee, because now this is a capital market issuance. There are trustees, 2 trustees, FBN trustees and Sterling, STL, used to be Sterling Trust. So what they do, they inspect those roads. If they confirm that it is 1 billion, so there are professional surveyors and valuers who go inspect, but they're private. Okay, so they go and inspect those roads and tell us this is the value of the work that has been done. So if Power says it's Works and Housing rather says it's 1 billion, and the trustee says 1 billion, we then pay for the 1 billion. So in this case, we are paying for work done.
Okay, I was actually going to ask if those who buy into the bond, do they really need to do a sort of checking where their money is going into, or they're going to get a feedback from your office or the institutions who offer to them?
That's an important question. So one of the things we did at the first instance, apart from disclosing the project, so that is transparency. You know what it is. It is this road, Okene bypass, Kano. Okay, apart from that, we put signages on the road. So if you are traveling on any part of a road that is financed by sukuk, you will see the signboard. So you know, okay, my money is going here. But what we have also done is, as you can see, by the time when we advertise and we disclose the pictures of those roads. So you may be in Abuja, you don't know the one happening in Enugu. So you can track them. So we actually have pictures of before and after, so the public can see what they've invested in, and then they are disclosed, so people can actually see them. If you are from an area and you travel that way, okay, they said sukuk will fund this part of the road, where's the road? So it's one of those things that everybody is an inspector, you can assess.
Now, we've had to adjust the budget twice this year due to COVID-19 and declining revenues. Is this pandemic, is it in any way affecting this particular offer?
Okay, I think if you look at the reasons why we are adjusting the budget, clearly revenue dipped significantly because oil price crashed, and then even demand for it was low in terms of buyers. So that was a revenue challenge, then there was need for government to spend more on COVID and health-related, other health-related issues. So that's one. But like I said, in terms of investors buying, there isn't, we don't envisage any problem. To start with, we're encouraging the retail investors to buy, the small investors. So the minimum subscription is 10,000 naira, which many people can buy. But there are also institutional investors, cooperative societies, associations, all kinds. It's open to all of them. So to say, in these hard times, do you expect a huge demand? Our answer very strongly yes, because we've had auctions. Don't forget, we'll be raising money. We had auctions in April. We just had one last week of Nigerian bonds, and this week we have
oversubscribed.
All oversubscribed.
Yeah.
But what makes the sukuk even more important is tied to infrastructure. You can see it.
Okay, and I was also going to ask you, for individuals and maybe groups of persons who want to invest in the sukuk, how do they go about it? Those who don't know the procedures.
Okay, like I said, from the first sukuk we issued, so we learned some experience. Like I said, we're on the road marketing, doing road shows and talking to them. We learned quite a bit that you need to address the small investors. The institutional investors don't need too much. They're either interested or they are not, but they understand the product, and if they have money, they will invest. Like I said, some have asked. So for the retail investor who is not so business savvy is why we are advertising in vernacular. What is the process? Most of them have relationships with a bank or with a stockbroker. You can download the form from the DMO's website. You can download it from the website of the financial advisors. You can then go to your bank or stockbroker, like I said, and make that payment, complete it and make that payment. So that's for individuals. It's the same standard form you use for shares in the market, that type of form, where it says individual account, corporate account, joint account. So for joint, if, for instance, you and your family as a group want to buy, there's a section for that. You indicate who the signatories are. And we're encouraging all of that, actually.
Okay, so what happens in an event when this group of persons now, maybe they run into issues and want to take out their money before the 7-year period? Is it the same with the other facilities, or it has a different way at all?
Okay, let me clarify. The sukuk, FGN sukuk, the sovereign sukuk, is similar to our other products. It's a federal government security, so they're listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange and the FMDQ Securities Exchange. As you know, they are no longer an OTC, they are now, you know, in their own right, the Securities Exchange. So they are listed there so they can be bought and sold the same way you buy shares. So like I said, for the retail investor, you know, the stockbrokers are the ones who deal with, they deal with institutions, but they're used to dealing with retail investors. So you can simply go to that retail stockbroker or bank and sell it.
Okay, so are you in any way worried about meeting the target? Just in case.
I would say no. So the first time, you know, we offered 100, we raised, we got about 105 billion in subscription. And I have to say that was a hard sale, a difficult sale, because we were on the road literally every day. The second one was a bit softer because people had seen the works. There was evidence. So for this one, we are not worried. Like I said, people have been asking from last year, aren't you going to issue another sukuk? When are you going to issue another sukuk? So there's awareness already, and it certainly appeals to ethical investors. So it's like saying they've been asking, they've been waiting for it. The third component of that really is that there's liquidity in the market.
So if you will be talking directly to your target, what would you be telling them?
I would tell them to invest in the sukuk. They should not wait for the closing date. It is a very good product. It is that product where you, as an individual or an institution, you're actually contributing to infrastructural development. So when we say Nigeria has challenges, growth is challenged, one of the problems is infrastructure. Okay, so if you as an individual can contribute to infrastructural development, it helps the economy. It also helps you as well, because you can move around a lot easier. It creates employment opportunities. As you know, when you do roads, the layers of employment that it creates not just from the labor that will be recruited, but from the various vendors around the place selling food and all of that. So is that product where you know you're contributing significantly to the economy in more ways than you would ordinarily be able to do. So I encourage them to buy. It is safe. The return is attractive. We pay the rental income very regularly. It is an FGN security. It is guaranteed by the full faith, and credit of the federal government. It is listed. So if you want to sell before the 7 years, of course you can. So I would encourage them to buy.
Okay, thank you very much, and wish you well also in this endeavor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We've been speaking with Patience Sonia. She is the Director General of the Debt Management Office. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
This is Business Express reaching you from Abuja. The program continues after this break.
Let me assure Nigerians that all COVID-19 intervention funds are safe in the Treasury single account, and that government is still open to donations in this regard. Government has opened special accounts with 5 commercial banks which are directly linked to the Treasury single account. Donated funds are safe in the Central Bank of Nigeria. For verifiable information about the funds and other financial obligations of the federal government, please contact us directly at the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning. The account details for the donations are as follows.
Dropped slightly by 1.77% this Wednesday, trading at $35.53 in early trade. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures also lost about 1.48% at $33.84 a barrel. Now let's see the price of oil and other commodities on the domestic and global markets. Now, it's the first trading day on the Nigerian Stock Exchange this week, as Monday and Tuesday were observed as public holidays. The market opened the week negative as the all-share index depreciated by 0.07% to close at 25,221.23 basis points. Market capitalization stood at 13.1 trillion naira. Investors exchanged 581.6 million shares valued at 5.5 billion naira in 7,759 deals. FBN Holdings, Zenith Bank and Guarantee Trust Bank were the toast of investors, while Nigerian Breweries, Dangote Cement and Stanbic were the top gainers for the day. Away from home, JP Morgan, Novavax, Carnival and more stocks making the biggest moves midday on the global market Wednesday. Buster Abel has an update.
U.S. stock futures pointed to more gains at Wednesday's open on optimism about the reopening of the economy. Dow futures pointed to an implied open of more than 400 points. It gained 529 points. Nasdaq futures also gained 0.17%. European stocks were cautiously higher, with US-China tensions capping market optimism over economic reopening. Stocks in Asia were mixed as investors weighed the potential impact of rising tensions between Washington and Beijing against economies reopening as coronavirus containment measures are eased. Nikkei topped 0.70%, while Hang Seng Index and Shanghai Composite were negative. Africa stocks were mostly negative in early trade, also affected by global happenings.
Expectations are high as the Monetary Policy Committee meets in Abuja after an initial 2 days postponement due to the summer public holidays earlier in the week. This is coming as key steps to insulate the economy from the effects of coronavirus settle, although projections are that the economy will slide into a recession by the end of the year. On that note, let's take a trip to the currency market to see how the Naira is faring alongside other major currencies. And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on NTA's YouTube channel. You can also communicate with us on Twitter, and the handle is NTA News Now. Don't forget to use the hashtag #IsBizEx. Remember to intermittently wash your hands with soap under running water as the world battles COVID-19. Business Express returns Friday. I am Leah Katun Babatunde.